Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riven, the second episode where hopefully we'll start reading a lot and solving some puzzles. You may not notice it, but I have a sort of a new setup here. So what I'm going to try, and unless y'all protest, is that I'm going to be writing some new notes here. And I thought, well, before I wrote some notes on an actual piece of paper with a pencil, because it's kind of was fun and old school, but I don't really have a good camera set up to film that so you can see me taking my notes and see me looking at them. So I'm thinking, I don't know if you guys want me to just take notes, but you don't care if you see them, or if maybe you want to see them. So if you do want to see them, then what I'm going to do is, start the game. Oh, hopefully this isn't any spoilers or anything. No. I'm starting the game. Wow. Playing the game, and maybe I come across some sort of puzzle, like, I don't know, I go back here, and, wow, you guys, this is not as pixely for you as it is for me, because of the encoding and scaling and stuff, so you guys are fortunate. Like, say I come across this Abano, and I'm like, hey, this looks like it could be a puzzle. I mean, it's got some Tetris blocks here, so I'm just gonna swap right out. Or not. Excuse me. I think I have to change the res after I open it or something. Anyways, I'm going to swap out to Milton here. You can't see the title bar because I'm blocking it out for good immersion. And I'm just going to kind of draw like, okay, so we got like an island here, and it's got like Tetris blocks, and it's going to be real cheesy looking, so I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this, but I'll at least give it a try for one episode. I don't have a tablet or nothing, so it'll be weird looking, and maybe it won't work, but it's something. Hey, whatevs. So, okay, so speaking of puzzle solving, so I was just down there, and I don't think I can do anything else, but let me just have a quick check. Because I think there's something here that one might not normally notice, such as this. Looks like a button, but isn't. What could it possibly be? I don't know. Well, let's go and try to solve our first puzzle. Well, I mean, there's this book. I don't really want to start an episode reading this book because it is fairly lengthy, and I can't remember if there's anything super required, but it's some backstory, so maybe we read it chapter by chapter. I really don't know. But, hey, we could go like this if we wanted. So that sound is my nightmare, because there's this other thing in the game that makes that sound, and sometimes it makes it, like, dramatically, and sometimes it's really bad. But I don't think we can actually do that right now, because I think I still need to go back that way, because there's no other way. You see, there's this bridge that looks like it extends, so we can't actually do this yet, but we will need to in the future. But, these islands, you see, I can't remember if it's a good idea to note these down right here. Because there's opportunities later, but I think this might be the clearest they ever get or something, so I don't know. I'm just going to say, size is not necessarily evident. I'm just going to say, here's a Tetris block. Oh, that's not how you do it. Here's a Tetris block. This is how I would normally draw it on paper. 2, 3 that way. How many this way? Just the 2. So that's one island. And there's just a 4. Now this might seem a little bit long-winded now, but we're going to want to know this later. Oh boy, are we ever going to want to know this later. Oh boy. And I'm even gonna probably mess it up the way I literally always do. If you know what puzzle I'm talking about, then maybe you know. 4 by 3, except for that one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I thought of doing this in Photoshop where I could make some shapes, but in the end I felt like maybe that would take even longer. So, yeah. Boop. That's what that island is. And then there's just this one. We're going to want to know this later. So, there you are. There's my notes. Now, back to the start, if I want to beat my best time. So, the interesting thing about this book is that on previous GOG versions prior to the 25th anniversary update, at least on my computer, because I bought this before actually, I just remembered. Oh wow, that's pixely. The scaling in this is not very good. I'm scaling this in a window, and unless it's like exactly a res scale of the original, it really kind of looks bad. But anyways, these pages would just turn by themselves with and you couldn't stop them, so it was totally unreadable. But now it doesn't. So this is Atris. So of course I'm going to do a terrible job imitating him. Okay. They held for more than 30 years, but the corrections I made to Riven have finally failed. The island has resumed the familiar pattern of decay that is the hallmark of my father's work. I must now race to implement this new patch before it's too late. I only hope that my revised theories are sound. Revisions to Riven completed. There are still a number of minor adjustments which need to be made, but the basic corrections have been entered and should be working. Something's not right. I've been monitoring the instruments for several hours now, but have thus far observed no change. It's possible that I've made an error, though I've checked my entry against my... This is making my eyes bleed looking at this. My pre-notation and can find no discrepancy. I've not had a rest in nearly 3 days, so it may be that I'm just not seeing it. If the fault is with my foundational assumptions, however, perhaps after a short rest I will see something. Success! It appears that my repair... That's what Atros would say, right? He'd say, success! Totally. It appears that my repairs have been effective after all. The gateway image has become noticeably clearer, and although it is impossible to know this with absolute certainty, the island seems to have quieted itself. Just a few more weeks of work, and I should be free at last to go there myself and attempt to bring Catherine back. The past 8 months have left me little time to think, to devise a strategy for getting her out of there. I've received no sign from her in all that time. I'm afraid that... No, I must assume that she is all right, lest my fears undermine my efforts to bring her back. I did not create the Age of Riven. Unlike my father, I have never presumed to have such power, and yet the future of all those who live there has fallen into my hands. So far, I've managed to read the page before it turns. The island continues to appear stable, and I would like to believe that I have saved a dying world, but the theories of one individual cannot support the lives of real people indefinitely. I must get everyone off of Riven as soon as possible. The problem now is Gen. I'll never be able to rescue Catherine and relocate the islanders if he is still the man he once was. I haven't seen him in over 30 years, but his history forces me to assume that he is still a threat. His myopic mission to restore the Dunny civilization has left too many innocent cultures dying in its wake, and would continue to do so were he to once again be free of the confines of Riven, or the Fifth Age, as he coldly titled it. The universe has been safe from his corruptive influence for the last 33 years, because no one has been able to leave that age, the last linking book out of Riven having been lost in the Star Fissure upon my return to Mist. That was my intention, to maroon my father on Riven by removing all the existing links to other worlds, and since the art of constructing books had long been lost with the fall of the Dunny, he would be trapped there for the remainder of his lifetime, and effectively segregated from the countless other worlds that he would have invaded. In effect, that is what we achieved, but the way it fell, however, was no one's ideal. Though the sting of the incident has gradually faded from my memory, the deep pain of the responsibility for what actually came to be has never left me. At the time, it all seemed so clear. Gen's destructive path could not be allowed to continue. But it was never my choice that the innocent inhabitants of Riven, who had already suffered so much, would be the ones to pay for it. Enough! To dwell in the past is to die in the present. The situation is not the same as it was then. The knowledge I've acquired in the years since that time has yet to be applied to this problem. I think I have the solution. Why it did not occur to me sooner, I do not know, unless the idea of it had been pushed out with the thought of my sons. A prison book. Many years ago, during a hunting expedition through the ruins of Dunny, I chanced upon a formula for a most unusual type of book. Unfortunately, due to the fact that my father was then in the habit of confiscating my discoveries, I was forced to leave it behind. Years later, however, as part of my efforts to protect the vulnerable worlds linked to the books in my library, I was pleased to find that I could still recall most of the formula, and with little experimentation, quickly succeeded in creating one of these devices myself. The procedure is actually quite simple. By altering key lines of text but slightly, a normal linking book's connection can be partially severed, such that anyone who attempts to use the book will be permanently trapped in the dark void of the link. That is, unless someone else then uses the book, at which point that person would become trapped and the first person displaced back into the world. The technique can be applied to books that have already been written, changes to the original text being so slight that anyone who is unfamiliar with the code will be unable to detect them. If indeed my father has not changed, what better bait could there be than a book that appeared to be a link back here to Dunny? Trouble. My nightly analysis of the island's condition has revealed that the tremors have begun again. The pattern, however, is new. The disturbances are the result of the changes I have made. This did not at first concern me, however. Tremors of this type were one of the possible side effects that I had anticipated during this initial phase of the island's readjustment. Still, in order to verify my assumptions, I decided to calculate again, incorporating the new data. The results were not what I expected. The damage to the understructure is more extensive than I'd realized. I can no longer go to Riven as planned. Catherine, forgive me. I must act while I still have the time. The signs are barely visible, but there's no question that the island's deterioration is accelerating. Total collapse is imminent unless I can keep ahead, and that is becoming increasingly difficult to do. With every passing moment, I gain a clearer picture of the incredible chaos that my father's economy of words has yielded, but it is a dismaying process. The complexity of the problem is overwhelming. There is no end to this. The last few days have all but convinced me that the collapse of Riven is inevitable, and that at best I can only strive to delay it now, and hope that at some point the island will become stable enough to risk a rescue attempt. I think I've come up with a way to subdue the tremors. It will require my exclusive attention for at least a month or two, so it may be necessary to discontinue these journal entries for a while. Something truly miraculous has happened. Beyond all conceivable probability, someone has finally found my lost mislinking book and has freed me from this prison. I immediately realized that this could be the solution to my dilemma, and I believe my mysterious benefactor is willing to assist me. I'm still not sure it can work. The logistics of such a scheme are formidable, but the mere fact that it may now be possible for me to continue my repairs to Riven and yet proceed with my original intent to find Catherine has given me renewed hope. The last few days have left me little time to work out the remaining problems with sending someone else to Riven. It did occur to me, however, that if a way could be found to signal me once Gen had been captured, it would no longer be necessary to take a real linking book to Riven and risk the possibility of inadvertently releasing Gen. The deteriorated state of the gateway image makes the use of a visual signal impossible, but the picture remains a reliable indicator of Riven's condition nonetheless. By measuring and interpreting variations in the noise patterns, I'm still able to observe basic changes that occur in the age, even though I cannot see them. The problem is that my instruments can only detect changes that occur on a fundamental level, and it seems unlikely that an individual could affect such an elementary change from within an age. The idea may be foolish. Still, there is a known weakness that may be worth investigating, an anomaly that appears as a rift between two separate systems, the star fissure. But how, or even if this fact could be exploited, I cannot say. Sending someone to Riven also means that once I received the signal that they were ready to return, I would have to leave my writing in order to take a real linking book there myself. However, provided my father was safely out of the way, this should take very little time. After that, assuming the island does not incur much damage in my absence, it should then be a relatively simple matter to hold it together long enough for Catherine to return to Riven and evacuate the remaining islanders. Predetermining a signal without knowing the topography of the island may prove to be impossible, but I'm afraid there can be only one answer to the question of whether or not I should send my friend to Riven with a way out. The potential for failure will be greatly diminished if the prison book is all that is taken there. I'm sure my father is expecting me to bring a linking book to Riven. May he not be disappointed. That's about the length that they are. So yes. However, let's just take a quick peek over here. Now that I put that steamy thing over in the place. Yeah, you used to be, this isn't exactly, you used to be able to click and the cursor would flicker when it went. So, not like the original, whatever, but. So yeah, you push it downwards. You pull it upwards. It's pretty fun. I don't know, I could sit here playing with this stuff all day, but let's get on with things, shall we? Enough moseying around here talking about how great this freaking game is and how Quake 2 was released in December of 1997, and that was the state-of-the-art in real-time rendering, and then this thing comes along and it looks like this. It's not real-time, of course, but whatever. I'm clicking too fast. Breathe. Now, I know there's Easter eggs around Riven. I found them when I was a kid by looking them up, and I know there's, like, faces in the walls of people's kids and stuff, but I'm not gonna make this a technical playthrough like that. It's just gonna be an enjoyable playthrough, so let's just enjoyably press this big blue button. Ooh, that sound is nostalgic. So this is the greatest thing, okay? I mean, check out the view over there. You see them rails? You see them rails? We going on them rails. Oh, yeah. Man, I remember this. Now, one thing to note, Riven originally came on 5 CDs. Now, this was before DVDs were common. In fact, I think DVDs came out in 96, maybe? So, like, nobody had a DVD reader in 97. So, 5 CDs, and you always had to load every time you would go on one of these things. And in fact, the box of Riven, I wish I still had my original Riven box, because it was just beautiful. Inside the big main box was this little CD case, like a digipack almost, but it was this, like, cardboard thing that held all 5 discs, which had beautiful Rivenese art on it, and then inside were these individual disc holders that held the CDs, which also held the art. I think it was the same art that was in those Beatles, right? When you look inside them, it was just beautiful, and I'm halfway tempted to try to go on eBay and see if I could get another one, but it might be expensive. I don't know, but I'll try to throw a picture up so that you can just see how amazing it was. But we didn't appreciate them back then. We just chucked them away eventually, so. So I want y'all to put your faces right up to your screens. Remember, when I first played this, it was on a 15-inch 4x3 CRT, and this thing was the closest thing to VR that I'd ever seen. I could not believe how immersive this was. I felt like I was there. I felt like the wind was rushing, and I felt the bumps. My God, how did they do this? Let's watch it with me. Let's go on this ride together. And right there, after that sound, that's when this horrifying not horrifying. This horrible window would pop up, a gray window that would say, please insert disk whatever. And you'd insert it. And our computer had a slow CD drive. It was probably 2x, maybe 4x. So you'd pop the CD drive. It would take a while to spin down. You'd pop the old disk out. You put the new one in. Slide it in. It would take forever to spin up. And it would load and load and load. It was like something you dreaded. But it was anticipation too. Because while it was loading, you could just see these little corners of this new island. And you could just imagine what was right there. And you couldn't see it yet. It was just this anticipation of a new island. But then it really wasn't. Those days weren't really the good old days. Not really. It sucked to have to load it. But man, yeah, like, I'm just bracing whenever I hear the end of that sound for the loading. But yeah, like, was that crazy or what? I mean, I just felt like I was there. This is a flat screen with this low resolution, artifact-filled video. How do they do it? I mean, my God. If Real Riven or whatever they call it ends up being VR capable, that, I mean, well, it'll make me sick because it's movement, I guess, but if I could figure out a way not to have that happen, my God, that would be just like so mind-blowing, it would just be crazy. So, here's an eyeball in a rock. So what we want to do here is we want to go, okay. How do you move it like that? We want to go, okay, so the symbol is this. It's a b like that. And it is a chirp sound. It's a chirp. Good enough. So, that's what we want to write down there. And you'll want to remember these symbols. Because that cave, it looks a bit... Oh, yeah, that's a good turnaround. I don't know, they did what they could. So yeah, it kind of looks like something. And the cave entrance looks like some sort of frog with that eyeball right where it is. So maybe let's write down, I don't know, frog. If I had a tablet, this would be much faster, but I don't know. Yeah, so some sort of frog creature is what that is. And yeah, but now I keep wanting to check my map, but there is no map. So we're now on this island. Now Riven is very brown, all things considered, but it's also beautiful, which sometimes isn't the case. But if we go down here, there's the stuff. There's these sunners. So there they are, beautiful creatures. I love this view though. So if you go down here too quickly, that happens. Or too slowly, actually, as a matter of fact. It's kind of tricky to get the timing right. It's weird. So yeah, if you go down too quickly, they kind of just swim away. And this will be a puzzle. Not a particularly brain-teasing, brain-bashing one, but it's, you know, early game. I love this water. Yeah, it's pixely, but, like, look at the aesthetic of it. Hey, can I get down? I mean, look at it. Just gorgeous, beautiful blue water. Yeah, if there's one criticism of this version of Riven that's otherwise amazing, I would say it should have auto-scaling that does, like, what do you say, filtering? Because right now it's just stretching them uglily, but hey, whatever. So here's another eyeball. So that would be... Was it just the line through the middle? Let's see. Yeah. So this is the line through the middle, and this is like a sort of whaley sound. And if we go and sort of look back, it kind of looks like a fork. So is this the fork, perhaps? I mean... I know what the stuff is, unless I forgot it, but, you know, this is kind of the way I would be doing it, so yeah. I'm just hoping that this weird scaling doesn't make the quality noticeably worse for you guys in the final video. We'll see. I can't tell right now, but we'll see. So that's kind of that bit, but let's not go too far in one direction. Let's kind of go back a little bit and appreciate the bugs and butterflies flying around and the beautiful sort of clear-cutting of the forest. But, you know, there's still a forest over here, so it's all good. And, there's something in here that you might notice if you are like a super fan, but I'm not gonna point it out. Because, you know. Also, how do I, Oh, there we go. It just looks so real. It's so... Oh, it's just crazy. So yeah, it's a bug. So that's the sound it makes. So, beetles buzz. We might need to know that. I don't know. Write everything down. That's the rule. So this kind of reminds me of that one age in Myst 3, the foresty age. Y'all know the one. Now there's something in here that's a little bit, well, thing-shaped. Oh, that's not it. And I just kind of want to show it in case anyone might have missed this, as I did every single time I played this, because seriously. Oh, see, I'm missing it right now even. Well, there's this. So there's that. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, the work seems to be some sort of well-liked or well-feared, perhaps, creature here. And it's got this cardboard eulogy. That's what I'm calling it, the cardboard eulogy, but that's not what we're going to look at. We're just kind of getting the lay of the land. I should probably slow down and just look at all this stuff, because, I mean, look at this stuff. Amazing. No, I'm looking for something in particular. Yes. I'm looking for this, which... Guess what? This is a path. Does it look like a path? Yeah. I didn't frickin' think so. You will never, ever, ever find this. Well, okay. I mean, that's a symbol. Let's write it on down. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. And it goes like... Hey, of course you guys already know what this is, because I made that joke, that funny joke. But let's just pretend we don't know. Yeah, like, can you even see? Because I guess there's stairs. Okay, that barely looks like stairs. I don't know, y'all. That's a little bit of a thing. But, meh, let's go down to this crazy, creepy guy and see what we can do. Well, I don't know how the heck I found this, but yeah. Well, we didn't get to see it happen. Let's see if we can see it happen, because I gotta just see everything happen in this game, right? Oh. The sound effects in this game are burned into my mind. Also, that music. Yeah. It's just fun to walk around in this here world, I'm telling you. But let's see, I don't know, let's go up first. Another thing to remember, of course, is that this game was designed in the era of CRTs, which were less sharp than LCDs, so they hid their flaws of the graphics a little bit better. But, it's a spinning dome. It'll spin your head around. It'll spin your dome, you know, because by dome I mean head. So you'll be encountering these many times, and I'm just trying to... Well, I guess you can't see it from here. But anyways, over here... This is not the right place. Oh my god, dude. Where is it? Over here? Yeah, it can be confusing to... No, not over here. Wow, what? What? There's that. Over here, thank you. There's this creepy old... which for some reason used to really scare me as a kid, because it's just, look at it. All squeaking and squawking. And you can see there's a yellow thing that flashes. There's one yellow symbol you may have seen. And you have to hit this thing exactly when it happens. Now, you can, of course, just mash the button, which is what I did when I was a kid, because it never seemed to work. It's a little bit precise. See, I hit it right there, but it didn't quite catch. I think it has to be at the bottom. This button has to be at the bottom when you hit it, or something. But if you don't want to do this silly timing thing, you can just mash the click and it'll work perfectly fine. So, dude, see what I mean? There we go. It's finicky. And then that happens, and you got this creepy old rusty thing. I just love the combination of green and rust in here, like the natural and the industrial. Gen's destructive influence. Or perhaps his destructive influenza. So it looks like you can barely see there's a book in there, and there's this code which we know nothing about yet. So we can't do much here, but just kind of note it. And, well, carry on. Now that dome, let's see here. The symbol, we don't know the symbol. We have to split, well, actually I do know this. Okay, so, let me just write this down. See, I don't know if I would be prone to writing this down right now if it was just me, but like, let's see. You got the circle, you got the with the thing, and this is, well, I'll just say it's jungle. A dome. Right. So that's that. And, in fact, we can... Now I can't... Yeah. This would be better in real time. You could navigate better, but, yeah, it takes what you can get for 1997. It's just... Uh-oh. So, unlike Myst, this world is not entirely empty. There are people here, but we won't be seeing too much of them, so you can still basically treat it like it's a game that lets you be solitary. And how do they get out of there anyways? For real. Hang on, are these graphics being dithered? These graphics best not be being dithered. Oh boy. It's gonna be embarrassing if that's the case, but... Well, never mind. Let's just go in here. I mean, this thing just looks amazing. And kind of lethal, but, you know, that's fine. Whoa, man. Is this amazing or what? Well, I am the Lord High Executioner. Let's go. So, yes. I didn't mean to do this preemptively as an efficiency thing. I just ended up coming here first, but it's a good thing I did, because if you end up getting down there, you need that closed for later. Spoiler. So, yeah. Well, now that I'm done being nice, let's go back to, you know, the lower land. The lower land. With a British accent. The animations in this game just make it all worth it. It's just fun to watch doors opening and switches flipping again and again. Like, what other game can you say that about? Am I right? Anyhow... Now that good deed is done, I guess maybe this would be a decent place to leave it. Next time, well, let's just go down to the mid-level. Next time, we going all the way down. See you guys then. Unless we're not going down, because I think there's something I want to show that you have to do certain things to get to. And I always ended up getting there by accident in my old playthroughs, but I just want to see if I can make it happen. On purpose this time, with science. Bye!